Hi everybody and welcome to another video. In this video I will show you an overview of the new, changed and fixed features and improvements as well of the Guide and Service Tool version in 2023.3. Here you can see the main changes for Guide and Service Tool in version 23.3. Inside Guide there is a new feature called Separate Build Folder to clean up the project folder with the temporary files, and two feature extensions for FMU Export where some CAN callback functionality has been replaced, and PLC2C upgrades where unused code will not be part of the compiling process anymore, and some more minor changes. Inside Service Tool it is now possible to add matching criteria when creating parameter transfer files, so-called P1T. A new page property called Show Parameter Write Summary, and an update inside the PLUS+1 InterLink Remote when downloading applications to ECUs. The transfer data step will now be resumed on connection interruptions. I will show all these feature extensions a little bit more in detail in the following. Starting with Guide feature Separate Build Folder. There was a wish to have a folder in the project that Guide uses for compiling only, instead of Guide compiling everything in the root folder, thus avoiding lots of files. One benefit is that you have a cleaner project folder when you look at it, and this will also allow compiling with Chinese project path, for example. This new feature requires HWD that support P1 Builder, like the newer DM platform do, for example. Like in my example, the project folder looks like this with all the temporary files. Under compilation, I can set one build folder, which is the root folder, and each project will get this subfolder. As you can see, all temporary files are located inside this project-specific build folder, where the original cleaned up project folder only shows the main files. Next feature extension is FMU Export. In the FMU Export, some minor changes took place where the CAN callback functionality has been replaced. Callback functions can be passed to an FMU to control reception of custom CAN messages and to log all CAN messages sent by the FMU, bypassing the CAN database functionality. All these multiple CAN callbacks for the API are covered in the manual. Next feature extension is PLC2C compiler updated. For the PLC language sequential function charts written in a PLU, two additional non-standard action qualifiers entry and exit has been added. Both new action entry and exit are executed immediately after the transition condition to the step is evaluated to be true, without any rising or falling edge for the action control block, and executes the action when the step itself becomes active. The new and all other action qualifiers for SFC has been updated in the manual and showing some useful examples. Another feature extension or optimization took place to the PLC editor. If a PLU has been added to the project but it is never called, this unused code will now not be compiled. As you can see in my little example where I have added a PLU called FB2, and this has never been called via the call PLU component or from any other PLU. This is also documented inside the hint message that the function block FB2 is never invoked. Some minor changes took place as well, like for var output, which are no longer modified by PLU calls where the en flag is false. So if en is false, in previous version variable x would have been assigned to default value for this typed unit, that would have set it to 0. If I set variable x to 3, the difference between current implementation and previous x will remain 3 here, and previously it was set to 0 even if en was false. There's also a new function called flip endianness, which is an extension function. This function takes some input flips it and drops the flipped value. And guide can now support references to the same type as you have defined, like in this little example struct that is called tselfref, and it contains just one member, self, which is the ref to tselfref. Previously, if you try to write ref and autocomplete, you did not get anything here, but now both the standard way to write ref to and to reference to if you want. And some little changes inside the hints that var external variables is never used, and for this one that declaration is missing. After guide, let's have a look to the service tool features in 23.3. Start with the first extension. It's now possible to add matching criteria when creating parameter transfer files, so-called P1T. This matching criteria will control if the P1T file can be written to an ECU or not. Currently, the parameter set in the P1T file will decide whether it's a match or not to the ECU, but you can also add the matching criteria. When you decrypt the P1T file, you will get a placeholder section where you can add this matching criteria, and you can use items like ECU information and also parameter values as matching criteria. This can be used to specify or limit which ECU or application the P1T can be written to. Two types of matching criteria can be specified: ECU information and parameter values. If a certain set of ECU information items are selected as matching criteria, this information must be matched in the ECU application to allow the created P1T being written to the ECU. If parameter values are added to the matching criteria, the parameter values will be read from the ECU, and if the parameters are available in the ECU and the values are correct according to the file can be written to the ECU. Both types, ECU info and parameter values, can also be combined. Like it is shown in this little example, for each JSON and CSV file format, a matching criteria has been created which requires the app ID and OS family to match, and the values of parameter 1 and parameter 2 must match. Next feature extension, parameter write summary. For parameter pages basic and advanced in the P1D, there is a new page property called show parameter write summary for this page. When you right click and enable this, you will get a summary before the write action performs. There I can see which parameters that will get a new value. I can see the current and new value, and also all other parameters from the same page. And last feature extension from 23.3 refers to +1 InterLink Remote. This file feature for service tool is +1 InterLink Remote resumption, which requires HWD support. For CS500, for example, which has not been released yet at the time this video was is recorded. It's when downloading applications to ECUs using InterLink Remote, the transfer data step will now be resumed on connection interruptions. This previously resulted in download transfer timeout errors. Like shown in this screenshot, showing the download dialog during the download. The internet connection got disconnected. This message will pop up, re-establishing system connection, and its attempts will count up, and the message will disappear if it is able to reconnect to the device, and the download will continue. We hope that you found this video useful. Remember that +1 community help is available on the +1 user forum. Check out other videos on our YouTube channel or contact the +1 help desk. Thank you for your attention.